Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program 2, where after a very slow and painstaking process, we find ourselves here. Now, you can see that our angling is not correct. We're slowly heading in here, but we need to turn over this direction, yawing in the left direction quite a bit in order to be properly lined up here. This is coming in. You can see our direction here, but it's coming in very slowly. And the question is, are we going to be able to dock on this attempt, or are we going to bounce off? I'm not sure. I'm not super experienced with how docking works in KSP2. In KSP1, docking forces would not probably be enough to turn this, but it would definitely help. So we're going to see how this ends up going. We are just needing to turn, but as you can see, we're basically completely still right now. We don't have any power issue. We're absolutely fine on power, but this is not phenomenal in terms of the turning prowess on display here. That's for sure. We are in a pretty good position if we can just get this turning in the leftward direction. That's the idea right now. We just need to get it turning, and as you can see, it's currently maxing out that directionality, but we're not doing much. We are starting to have a little bit of a turn here, and as you can see, the frame rate is not amazing. This vehicle's out of electric charge again. I mean, that's pretty normal. It's already in its spot. We get that pop-up every so often. It's already in the correct orientation, so as long as it just holds that orientation or very close to it, we should be fine. We shouldn't have significant issues with that. So, the next question is, as we come in here, are we going to impact up here? That could cause a theoretical issue if we can't get this turned in time. So the turn rate is obviously problematic, and we knew that that would be a difficult portion of this. No doubt about it. The good news is this thing is radially oriented, so we don't need any particular orientation for this docking. We just need to be good enough. However, we are definitely beginning to turn here, and let's see if we can get lined up. That would be utterly phenomenal if we could get lined up and get this docked. And then we'll see how much Delta V we actually have in this. It's going to be interesting. But again, we can always bring up more of these. And in theory, if we bring up another one, I would probably bring up a way to refuel it without undocking here as well. Most likely. So, let's just let this get into position for right now. All we need to do is be turned enough for the docking to complete. That's the idea. Then the question is, how wobbly is this connection? But we'll see. In theory, it should be reasonable, but we'll find out. There's a lot of gimbal force back here once the engines are activated. Obviously, we do not want to activate the engines at this moment. That would be a terrible idea. We are still closing in at about 0.2 meters per second, and I don't want to accelerate that at all. I am still concerned that we're not going to be fully turned by the time we get there, but this is pretty close, to be honest. So this seems quasi-reasonable at this point. In fact, I'm feeling a lot better about this situation right now. It feels pretty good. Let's just let this continue to turn for a little bit longer. We're very, very close to having this be at a good angle for the docking. I think that this is going to happen, actually. Remarkably. When I first started this episode, I was pretty concerned because it felt like this was coming in quite quickly and we just weren't turning at all. But we have managed to build up a little bit of turn speed. In fact, I want to build up a little more. We are currently just coasting. So I'm going to hold this over for a little bit here. Now we're going to let it coast. Okay, so that'll be fine for right now. We can't warp this in any meaningful way because that will wipe out our rotation, which would be bad. And we can see that our relative velocity has definitely dropped. When I first started the recording, well, when I first started this, we were moving at like relative 10 meters per second. We were moving towards each other, so that was nice. Although it was weird, I don't think we were moving towards each other when I ended the episode, but we definitely were when I started it up today. I don't know. KSP2 is weird. I'd have to go back and double check last episode, but I think we were moving away from each other. And when I booted it up, we were moving towards. Who knows with KSP2? Did we just bounce here? Did we impact? No, we did not. Okay, there's not an impact point there, so that looks good. We only have 0.1 meters per second here, so we're moving incredibly infinitesimally slow towards each other. We will accelerate that up once we are in our normal position. As long as we're under like a meter per second, it's fine. We will accelerate this once we get into our correct turn angle. For now, obviously, we've got a fair amount more turning to do. I'm hoping that the performance will increase after we get this thing docked. Somehow I doubt that that will happen, but, you know, we can always hope. But once we get this docked, that'll be a good amount of delta V to at least get us a ways towards our destination. All we gotta do, remember, is get this to 120 kilometers over Eve. That is the mission. And we'll see if it happens. I'm still reasonably concerned about performance, but at this point, I think this is the worst the performance is going to be. So I think that we are going to be able to pull it off through some miracle. It will definitely be miraculous. Also miraculous, the fact that our velocity just stopped. Like, our relative velocity is basically gone. That's weird, too. I wouldn't have expected that. Who knows? KSP2 is truly bizarre. I think we might actually be starting to go away from each other right now. This is probably to do with our very, very slightly different orbits. But yeah, as we can see here, the retrograde marker is heading this direction, so I think we're starting to pull a little bit apart. So what I want to do is I want to just let us finish up this turn. We're incredibly close to getting in position for this docking. But we're not quite there yet. It's definitely a very special frame rate. No doubt about that. Yeah, we're starting to increase our drift apart now. I think it just has to do with our position in the orbit, now that I think about it. That's most likely what's happening here. We can see that our periapsis has actually dipped below 70, so that is probably it. For now, I would like to throttle up fairly soon. But I want to let this get into position a little bit more here. But yeah, we're definitely drifting apart now. So that's actually really nice. I'm okay with that. I do want to throttle up a tiny bit, very, very small. Turn it off, turn it off, turn it off. Okay. It's off. That will give us a little bit more turn, as well as offset the amount of acceleration apart. But it looks like we are still heading apart. That's okay. I mostly just wanted to get us that extra little bit of turn kick and get rid of a little bit of the relative speed differential there. So it's building back up. That's noted. We're going to need to accelerate in just a smidge here. Okay, that brings us to 0.0. We're going to want to start heading towards the vehicle, which we are still, I think, heading slightly away. Yes, we are still heading very, very slightly away. So I want to head in towards the vehicle here. Okay, something kind of like that. That's 0.1 meters per second. I want to bring it up to about 0.2, maybe even about 0.3. Okay, we'll put it there. So we're heading towards the vehicle at this point, incredibly slowly, but we're going to continue to tune that. We went up to 0.3 and then back down to 0.2. I think that's probably like a floating point error or something like that. Rounding is my guess. We should be decelerating at this point, based on my understanding of where we are in our relative orbits. So that should be reasonably fine. We're just getting this lined up, and we're going to kick in towards this vehicle again fairly soon. Our reaction wheel is currently not doing much because we're coasting, and that is reasonably fine for the moment. So we're still at 0.2 meters per second. I do want to accelerate this up a little bit more. I want to bring it back up to 0.3. There we go. So we're back up to 0.3 meters per second. And we're just going to very gently ease this in. Now, if you look at the mission elapsed time here, you can see this is very much not real time. It's been 1:20:39 for a while now. Okay, so it's now 1:20:40, and let's see how long it takes to go up to 1:20:41. Oh yeah, that was a solid like 10 seconds. So this is definitely not real time, and that's not surprising at all. We're just going to gently bring this in. This is the moment where if we had RCS, I would be looking to align our prograde marker with the towards target marker. So I'd be looking to bring this over and down. We don't have that luxury. We're just going to have to hope that we hit. And that docking forces are strong enough to deal with any problems that might fall out. We are at 100% docking acquire force, which is probably not going to be enough. So for now, this is okay, and we're still working on that turn. It's remarkable. We're going to need to accelerate in a little bit more here, which I would like to do. Let's bring this up. Okay, so we're bringing these together as we burn here, but we need to continue to turn, is the thing. We're now at a point where I feel like we might maybe be able to... Wait, we're at 0.5? I didn't intend to go up to 0.5. Okay, well, this is not fast enough to cause major issues anyway. So we're at the point where we might be able to get a docking, but I'm not convinced about this turn. So we're probably going to end up bouncing. We're now up to 0.7. Okay, we're having some drift at this point. This might be simply because our... Yeah, this is off. We're too close. Okay, that's what's happening there. So at this point, let's see how this goes. I'm not convinced that it's going to go well. I believe we have an impact event occurring now. Okay. Yep, that was an impact event. I want to throttle this up. We're at 2% thrust. Hang on, have we been at 2% thrust that whole time? That would be awkward. Okay, let's turn this off. Let's pause it. Go up to 10x. Unpause. I wanted to kill the physics here. Repause as soon as we have one tick. Okay, back down to 1x. So, we can see exactly what ended up happening. We're bouncing and we're going this direction. So we're going to have to realign. This is not particularly surprising. Okay. There we go. So this is not particularly surprising. We were pretty off there, and we're just going to have to realign here. We're moving pretty much apart from each other once we manage to get these realigned. I want to hop over here and see. Yeah, we have no electric charge here, so getting this realigned is going to take a little bit of time because all we have is the electric charge that we're getting from these solar panels, and we're not in a good orientation to get very much from them. So we're not expecting this to move very much. We're going to try to move more with this vehicle, which is, of course, not necessarily ideal. Let me get this lined up, and we are going to try this again. See you guys in just a moment. Okay, so here we are kind of lined up again. The main issue right now is there's too much vertical velocity relative. So that is definitely going to be an issue, and I'm not sure how we're going to go about fixing that, because we would need to burn like down here, right? So we would need to get quite a lot of turning done, and I'm not convinced that that's going to end up happening, because we just don't have a lot of turn power in this. So if we need to bring up a second one of these, I will definitely put some monoprop on it, 100% on that. I would also probably at least double our reaction wheels up here, maybe more than. That would definitely be some things that would need to happen. So I would like to continue to bring us down here. That would be nice. I'm just going to let this automatically work for now. I was manually moving it for a bit there. We're fairly well lined up right now, I think. It's not perfect by any means, by any stretch of the imagination, but we're pretty close. I'm just going to be patient here, though. We're looking to bring this fully in on this attempt, ideally. The vertical velocity has actually dropped off. We were having about 0.3 meters per second of vertical velocity. That has gone away. So that is good. It seems like our velocity is to some degree affected by our reaction wheels in KSP2, so that is definitely noted, and it's a complicating factor. So that's for sure. We're working on still getting this turned a little bit more over here. It's painfully slow to turn this thing. No doubt about that. We've overshot this direction a little bit, it seems, so we're working on pulling it back, and we're still working on pulling this down. Now, we could throttle this up a little bit. I kind of don't want to, because, again, I want to play this nice and patiently. As long as we're remaining at, like, 0 to 0.1 relative speed differential, that means that we have lots and lots of time to get this turning completed, in theory. Emphasis on in theory. Man, this turn is so slow. So yeah, this is definitely something that would need to get dealt with. I didn't think it would be quite this bad because of how much lighter helium is, but I guess with these 2X tanks, I just underestimated how much weight was in them. So that is definitely good to know for the future. That is a lesson learned. We're now starting to move away, and I would like to very slightly throttle us up, bringing us up to probably about 0.2 again. Okay. Get rid of those engines. There we go. No more engine burn. And we're currently heading in, but at a very awkward angle. But hopefully it's close enough for the docking to actually work. I don't want to come in as quickly as we did before, and we're still trying to get pointed over here. We can see this is holding attitude pretty well. We had our solar panels, at least for a while there, in a position where they were very comfortably in sunlight. So that looks good for the moment. What looks significantly less good is our ability to turn here. You can see this is actually drifting away from us at this moment. So that isn't great. That's for sure. That said, we are apparently coasting in the vertical direction. I want to not be coasting right now. Bring that straight on down. Thank you very much. Okay, so we are manually orienting this at this moment. I really wish we had a little more turn power in this. That would be nice. I did think that this number of reaction wheels would be enough. This is 9 reaction wheels, and there's no Methalox in this. So I thought that that would have been enough. Apparently I was wrong on that. But this is theoretically doable. But if we do this again in the future, we are absolutely... This is now claiming 21,916 meters per second. Well, that's a little better than the 3,000 it was claiming before. We are, at this point, definitely committed to this. But if we were to bring up another one, if we needed additional fuel, I'd make some changes. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. So, all of these gimbaled engines should, when we do these little burns, help us turn. In theory. We are definitely building up some turn speed. But we're just not quite at the, critical mass of speed that we need. We can see that this is moving a fair amount again. It's moving away from us. I do want to burn a teeny tiny amount here. Not much. We're back into orbital mode, so that's nice. That's nice. So we're back up to 0.2, and we are definitely moving towards the target. I'm trying to move just in the vertical direction now, because I don't want to overshoot too much on the yaw here. We're definitely picking up some vertical speed on this turn. But you can see our velocity is decaying away, as we would expect. And I'm just trying to get us to pitch down a bit here. But man, this turn is painful. No doubt about it. Tremendously, tremendously painful. To be fair, though, this is a problem of my own making. So I'm not too concerned about that one. As far as the performance goes, it's doable. It is definitely not great. That's for sure. I'm going to throttle us up a little bit. We're down to 0.0 again. Okay, bringing us up to 0.2 again. We're just very gently coming in here. I wish that it told us our distance to our actual target point, like in KSP1. This is giving us our distance to the craft in KSP2, which is definitely not what I want at this point. Looks like we're overshooting in this yaw direction now, too. Okay. Well, that is reasonably fine as long as we come in slow enough here and close enough. Docking forces should be able to assist. And we just need to be able to squeak in a docking. That's all we're looking to do here. Just barely squeak in a docking. But that vertical speed is rough. No doubt about it. We're going to burn a little bit more to counteract those differing orbits. There we go. I just want to keep moving in very, very slowly. I think we're probably close enough at this point that docking forces are beginning to act on the vehicles. It's probably going to be difficult to tell because of... Wait. Did that just dock? It just docked. Beautiful. Okay. I didn't expect it to dock there. I feel like we were quite a long ways away still, but I guess it grabbed. Excellent. So we're now in position here. Let's put our SAS into lock mode. Beautiful. We have this flight in progress, yes. And it is time to put a cut in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, I'm actually just going to let these batteries charge for a bit. But next episode, we are going to take this guy out. And this is claiming 28,847 meters per second in Delta V. And this clearly needs to be moved around. Our staging is, I think, a little bit messed up at this point. Yes, our staging is very messed up at this point. We're going to have to do some work on that. This is definitely moved around very strangely. Okay, so we need to do our staging, but that should be a doable thing. I wonder if we can do that with the game paused. We can. Okay, so we'll get some extra performance out of it that way. But hey, we managed to get this thing docked up. That was painful, no doubt about it, but we did it. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Atala, Ali Lee, Dark Horse, Xenocyte, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.